Radio with the Skeleton Crew, exclusively at horrorbid.com. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Rabbit and Blue Radio with the Skeleton Crew. This is Alex,
Michael J,
and our special guest host,
Dan Chase.
We've, I know what you're thinking. We kind of remember that show. They've been gone for a while. Well, you know, things are a little different. We're a little restructured now, and we're going to get into all that later. But right now, we got a special for you. We are doing the 12 days of Friday the 13th. We're going to break down, dissect, and everything in between all 12 Friday the 13th movies leading up to Friday the 13th this April, which is the first Friday the 13th of the year. And you're going to have a good time. We're all going to have a good time, right, guys?
Very excited.
I am very excited. I'm
thrilled.
I'm pitching a 10 over it. But
I'm ready to puke.
Well, obviously, let's just, get a little intro of the movie. Basically, Halloween got everything going. Friday the 13th, Sean Cunningham, he saw the popularity of Halloween. Victor Miller decided to write a screenplay basically ripping off Halloween. But you know what? There's enough differences where basically all they did was take the holiday type of theme. Halloween is very subtle and suggestive, and Friday the 13th is more like visceral and brutal. So I think they're two different movies. What do you think, Mike?
I would totally agree with you. I mean, they are, because you got babysitters in Halloween, and these are camp counselors on Crystal Lake, so
yeah,
that's different.
And you know what? Halloween borrowed from Black Christmas and Psycho, and nobody seems to bash that for that, do they?
No.
What do you think, Dan? I mean, do you feel Friday the 13th is different enough from Halloween where it's its own entity?
Well, it definitely is, and I think it set out to be that originally. It tried to, copy Halloween and what Halloween did right, but it turned into something different.
You know, everybody loves the atmosphere, of course. Everybody knows that. You know, the music is amazing. You know, I want to get into, the actual movie, though. Steve Christie owns Camp Crystal Lake, and he's reopening it. He invested $25,000 into it, and it starts off, you see him and Alice. Mike, what do you think the relationship was between Alice and Steve Christie? I mean, the dude looks like a child molester with those cut-off shorts, glasses, the long curly hair, that mustache. And, Alice says, I'm going to go back to California to straighten some things out, But she had to live near there, otherwise how would he have hired her from California? I mean, what do you think the relationship was prior to this movie?
Well, I read the novelization of it, the book. And I don't want to try to get too technical here, but in the book, she's known him, I guess, they've had trysts, I guess, romantic things in the past. And it kind of, expands on the fact that, yeah, she does have a boyfriend, and she's kind of, can't decide who to be with.
Really?
Yeah. You know what it is, though? She's cheating on her boyfriend out in California with Steve Christie.
Yes. And can I just mention in that scene, which has bothered me for so long, and I've been dying to bring this up with somebody, and I'm glad I can do it now. When she's having that conversation with him, she's moving the ladder. If you look at how far she actually moves the ladder or how little she moves it, she probably moves it about an inch. I never understood it. I just had to get that out. Sorry, gentlemen.
She had to get that other nail in there.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very important. Well,
I just didn't buy it.
You know what, though? He kind of calls her out, though, because he's like, come on, stay a week. Help get the place ready. If you want to go by next Friday, I'll put you on the bus myself. So obviously he didn't feel that what she was going back to was important enough. Maybe that was his way of saying, don't choose this guy over me. Just, blow him off and stuff.
That's exactly, Alex.
Yeah. All right. Well, in this movie, it's a whodunit movie, and basically the audience is supposed to observe the behavior of all the characters. One that comes to mind is Bill. Remember, he kills the snake, then he holds the blade up and he glares down at it like a killer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Steve Christie driving around in a green Jeep, and of course Annie gets in a green Jeep in the beginning of the movie, then jumps out, and then gets her throat cut. So clearly the red herrings are Steve Christie and Bill. Did you guys, when you first watched this, were you already tainted? You already knew who the killer was?
No, I definitely didn't. When I first saw it, I was totally surprised.
House of Horror, the other radio show on this site, Joe, the host there, and they do a great job. They really know how to break down movies.
Yes, they do.
They're a great show. And I believe he's the one who said that at the climactic ending where Mrs. Voorhees is revealed as the killer, it was a total cop-out. He said the reason why is because she's not in the movie, and, like, we're supposed to be observing all these people's behavior and trying to, do with the process of elimination who might be the killer because this person wasn't here when this person was killed, blah, blah. And then at the end of it, when you think you might have figured out it's Steve Christie or someone, blah, blah, all of a sudden just somebody out of nowhere comes into the movie and just says, "Hi, I'm the killer." And it's like, what kind of whodunit movie was that? Like, what?
Well, she doesn't really say, "Hi, I'm the killer," in her defense. When she pulls up, yeah, I understand that, you put one and one together and you realize, okay, she's the killer, but literally she doesn't go to her and say, she's the killer. There's a nice little cat and mouse game there that I love. I mean, that whole point, the whole point in the movie when she drives up and there's the whole back and forth with her and Alice is just amazing to me.
Dan, when Alice was talking to Miss Voorhees and out of nowhere she's like, "My little boy, do you know that he drowned? They were making love with that young boy." We're like, okay, this is the killer. This lady's nuts.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'll be honest with you. She creeped me out as soon as she stepped out of that Jeep with that wide grin. But it did throw me off a little bit. But I don't think it was necessarily, quote unquote, like you said, a cop out. I think maybe it was most likely intentional. Because if you're gonna put in red herrings and go through all this trouble to do these type of things and throw everybody off like that, I that's original to me. You're expecting one thing, you get another. And
right.
Maybe that was intentional and maybe it wasn't, but I don't think we'll have to ask Victor Miller on that one.
Yeah, a lot in this whole series we're going to do. I want to do the what the F moments of Friday the 13th. Like, when you watched it, like, what things were you like, what the hell is this? Or what is going on? For me, I love when Alice discovered Ralph in the pantry. Like,
Yeah.
how long was he in there? How long was he in there? And how the hell did he get in there with no one noticing? And how much time was he willing to dedicate to that jump scare?
You know what it was? Can I just say what I think?
Yeah.
He hid behind a giant pot that they were going to cook hamburger or soup in or something.
What?
And he just stood there. I'm not kidding. I think that's the case.
Is this from IMDb?
No, this is just that's my thought of it.
Wait,
I
don't
think that's what happened.
What is your thought? How does your thought make it seem any more sane?
It's not sane. It's totally insane, and that just shows the craziness of the character.
Oh, I thought you were saying, oh, well, you don't understand. He was just hiding behind a big pot.
Yeah, well, no, he hid behind a big pot because he's a nut job.
Right. I think you lost me, Mike.
Maybe, I don't know. I do that with a lot of people, so I'm not surprised.
The hottest girls of the movie, what do you think?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I think it's easy. I think it's very easy. I'm going to go with both Marcy and Brenda are hot.
Ooh, well...
rest in peace, of course, Brenda.
Well, yeah, that's...
Yeah, see, I'd go with Brenda, too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, she was pretty hot.
That's just my style.
Yeah, and too bad that damn door blew
I'm
open.
all Marcy. I am definitely Marcy.
Yeah.
Especially in the unrated
too,
cut.
In that movie, though, a lot of those girls had an innocence to them, too. And,
right.
They weren't over the top yet. And that's why it's so diluted these days. You don't care about them. They're just, unfortunately, they're just bimbos. And, and they don't add anything. You don't care about them. And these girls, you felt like they were camp counselors. There's an innocence to the whole crew in general. But those girls seem very vulnerable. So when they did get picked off, it was, it was that much more effective.
Yeah. I just want to say that I really did love the sex scene that you were talking about that she was in, but I did not need to see Kevin Bacon's ass.
Yeah.
And but you know what? You only got to see his ass in the
crack.
unrated cut.
Oh, really? Well, I must have.
Yeah,
had that
I don't
one.
even think you saw her breasts in the R-rated cut. I think that's only in the unrated cut as well.
I think I've. Well, Well, he was holding them, right?
Right, and then in the unrated cut, you actually see a glimpse of them, of nipple and such.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Kevin Bacon, I also didn't need to see his exactly what his penis looked like in that tight blue bathing suit either. I don't know why we had to see a close-up of that before that belly flop on the way to save Ned.
On a quick side note, in the movie Wild Things in 1998, you actually see his thinger.
I was looking at the two girls, but I'm glad you noticed that, Mike.
Well, no, a friend of mine who's gay made me do it like frame by frame just so you can see it.
Oh, my God, and I was just kidding about that.
Lord.
Oh, yeah. I gave you more credit. Oh, boy. Best couple in the movie. Easily, Marcy and Jack, right?
Yep.
No.
Ooh.
So.
Oh, I know. Alice and Mr. Steve Christie.
No. I'm gonna go against a dream couple, but I think that they became a couple closer to the end of the film. I want to go with Alice and Bill.
Yes.
I count them as a couple, especially in the third act of the film. And I think that they would have become a power couple had Bill not been killed.
Can I change my couple?
Okay.
I want to change mine, actually.
Right.
Steve Christie and that cute girl at the diner.
Oh, yes. When she said,
Sandy.
Just a night in the town.
Sandy. And he's a big tipper for that
That's
time,
right.
too. What did he do, 75 cents?
It was 2.25, and he gave her $3, so that's 75-cent tip.
Now, how much percentage of that from the bill
I
is
have
that?
no idea. I
You
can't
don't.
figure out percentage.
Yeah, guys, you're going to learn. We're three idiots, so we're just going to get the fun movie stuff going. And anytime we have to get numbers together.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah.
We're not here.
Yeah, Sandy. I do love Sandy.
She's great.
Okay.
What do I owe you, Sandy? Just a night on the town?
He's like, yeah, right. No, seriously, what do I owe you?
Yeah, no, seriously, what do I owe you? So, all right, just 2.25, and that's it.
Yeah. He's
Here,
like,
here you go, Sandy. You can keep the change.
yeah,
Thank you.
keep the change, and I'll do the jokes around here. I've actually, just a side note, I've actually eaten in that diner about 5 times now.
Oh, that's
Have
right.
you really?
You live near there, or you used to live near there.
No, I still do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's in Blairstown, New Jersey.
Nice. Was she there? Did you game?
Sandy still works there,
You're right.
Wow.
and I still gave her 75-cent tip, but it was a $32 meal.
Wow.
Nice.
She probably, dude, next time you go there, you're going to get a loogie in your coffee.
Yeah, she was like, what the hell is this? I said, no, it's like the movie, you know? And she's like, this is the year 2003, asshole.
Yeah, and you're not Steve Christie.
Yeah, and she didn't get the joke, but that's fine. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, you know what I want to do? I want to play a little clip for everybody. A great little thing. Marcy, remember that cool little dream she had?
Yeah, I've had this dream about 5 or 6 times where I'm in a thunderstorm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's raining really hard. It sounds like pebbles when it hits the ground. I can hear it. I try to block out the sound with my hands, only it doesn't work. It just keeps getting louder and louder. And then the rain turns to blood. And the blood washes away in little rivers. And then the sound stops.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was a great clip. One of the best parts of the movie.
I loved it.
And, it makes it even more sad when she dies, but I must admit that Marcy's kill was easily the best one of the movie. Uh-oh.
Mm-mm. Do off-screen kills count as best kills in the film?
How could they, Mike?
Because you still see the end result.
They're not effective, though.
To me, they were effective. Dude, when she found Bill staked to the door, that was effective. And I remember seeing that when I was a child, and that haunted my dreams for weeks. Was the result of the kill.
Well, you're correct, sir, but it wasn't technically a kill. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, well, then if I have to go with the kill itself... Oh, wait, so then I guess Brenda doesn't count either because you don't see her.
Oh, my God, Mike, what are you afraid to look at these people die?
No, it's just that it's really neat when you see, like, the reveals of their death. Like, when Brenda gets thrown through the window, even though it was really Tom Savini, but you like to think that it's Brenda. I mean...
Did you say it's neat?
That scared me.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, but the suspense leading up to Marcy, you know, she hears the noise. She's, you know, the axe buried in her face just looked so good. I don't
Okay.
understand.
Oh, I love that.
I got it, though. All right, but you're talking about the suspense building up. Okay, well, I'm talking about the suspense building up to the reveal of Bill's corpse. When she's walking and you hear the...
Wait a minute. Okay. Dude, I got a gripe.
What's the gripe?
That whole part leading up to Bill's death, that was the worst part of the movie.
You're insane.
Dude, freaking, we're sitting there staring at Alice, sleeping, making tea, fiddling around with the guitar. I remember sitting there watching, and I'm like, did they just leave the camera on? Does anybody know they're filming a movie?
It's atmosphere.
Dude,
Dude, she's alone on the campsite. We know everybody else is dead or lost or something.
Listen.
She doesn't.
I'll tell you the truth.
That's the beauty of it.
It accentuated the fact that nothing happens. And literally, I cannot watch that without fast-forwarding it. I cannot believe that you find that the best part.
I'm on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Oh, my God.
I'm on the edge of my seat. It scares me half to death because it's like, what's going to happen? She's walking around and you hear all this music playing. And she's like, Bill, Bill, Bill. She's walking and you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, wait.
You know, I'm sorry, Adrienne King's you're a very nice woman, but you are a part of the two most boring drag-on scenes in the history of cinema. You got the one
You're
we
a
just
horrible individual for thinking that. I can't believe
we just talked about one, and the beginning of Friday the 13th Part 2, where we got to watch you putz around your apartment for 20 minutes. I'm sorry, but look, if you want to do a cameo, just get in and out. Please.
Yeah, that was that scene in the beginning dragged so much.
Oh my
and
God.
You know, we'll talk about that in the next.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But I just wanted to throw it in on top of this one. You know,
I disagree with it, so we'll get more into that later.
Yeah, we'll just mute you, Mike.
Oh no, one more what the F moment. When Enos grabs Annie's ass while she's getting into the
He
truck.
was just helping her to up
Yes.
into the truck. It's normal. It's natural.
And if she was wearing a skirt, would he have done the same thing?
Probably, and I would have said, bravo to you, sir.
Would he put his hand up her skirt? Or would he grab the back of it?
I would have, and I would have said bravo to me then, too, sir.
Would you have smelled your fingers when you were finished?
Of course, that's the added benefit.
As you guys know, this movie is like riddled with bad writing. Like things like when they're playing Monopoly and Alice is like, Baltic Avenue, you owe me one boot, and Brenda's like, Alice draws first blood, and Bill goes, that's a terrible way to talk about my feet. Or the bad jokes when they're swimming, and they're like, if you were a flavor of ice cream, what would it be? Rocky Road. And then you got vitamin C supposed to neutralize the nitrites, and the freaking, why is there a snake in here? We are in the woods. We're not in the woods. I don't know, man. This movie just had some really bad lines, but it had some good lines, too.
One of my favorite quotes is from Officer Dorff when he's like, sit on it, Tonto.
Yes.
Sit on it, Tonto.
Yeah,
Officer
that's a great
Dorff.
one, dude.
My favorite is, who are you people? We're just camp counselors. We're here to get the place ready. Ready for what? That's like the best line. Ready for what?
Yeah, right.
And, you know, I always like to, dissect characters or, try to get into the psychological point. And with Mrs. Voorhees, I think, she has some anger management issues or, a chemical imbalance. And when her son died, it kind of pushed her over the edge. And the line where she's like, look what you've done to him, look what you've done. You know, in my opinion, it's really her saying, look what the neglect of Jason did to me. And in other words, they pushed her into being a raging psycho. I think she carries some guilt, even though the counselors were, screwing each other and not watching him. I think she feels like she should have been there to save him. And I think that psychological aspect is not in the later films. I think that's why this is such good writing. And as me and Mike, we talked about, it's kind of a reverse Psycho type thing, because Norman Bates would talk in his mother's voice and Mrs. Voorhees would talk in Jason's voice.
Right, but you know what? I don't think that she had a chemical imbalance before this happened. I think before Jason drowned, she was okay. I mean, she might have been, had her little quirks and things like that. But
she just hadn't killed anybody yet?
Yeah,
right,
no, Mike, you can't go from a normal person to murdering.
Wait a minute, whoa. But how can't you? seriously, how can?
Okay, if you had a kid and
Yeah.
he drowned because
Yeah.
two people were neglectful, would you
Right.
would you
No.
go to court or would you kill 20 people?
Right. No, this is what I'm saying. Before Jason drowned, when Jason was alive,
Right.
or, before he supposedly drowned, he probably didn't really drown, but either way, she was fine. Then when he was neglected and he did drown, that's when she snapped. Before that, she was fine. If he would have gone on living his mongoloid existence, she would have been okay. She would have been his caregiver throughout his life.
Right.
She wouldn't have killed anybody. I don't think a chemical imbalance was involved. I just think that she snapped.
But don't you have to be a little
When he drowned.
loose to be able to snap like that?
Well, I'm saying she was a little quirky, but I don't think that she was entirely loose. I mean, she had a psychotic break.
So with that said, though, Mike, does that mean
Yeah.
that applies to Jason as well? Because it's the exact same thing, like you said, Alex. Not in the later films, but especially in 2, when it's basically shown that he's hearing voices, or not voices, but Amy Steele dresses up his mother
Right.
and confuses him, and he's obviously doing this for his mother, and he's basically so is that they're both psychotic, like
Right. Right.
it's genes.
Exactly. Well, no. It's
That's
not
the
even
argument,
genes.
I guess, huh?
It's not even genes, really. It's the fact that Jason saw his mother get killed. So when Jason saw his mother die, something inside of him snapped.
Well, yeah,
Right.
you know
they
what it is?
both hear the voices, though.
I like the psychology in that because it showed how twisted, like mentally twisted Jason is. I mean, you could say, well, he's doing nothing but kill people, so we already know how twisted he is. But keep in mind how Mrs. Voorhees snapped at the end of the original. So
Right.
the psychology thing is to show us that Jason is just as attached to Miss Voorhees as she was to him. So they both have they have issues. Okay, Mike, if they're not chemically imbalanced,
Right.
they have attachment problems.
Oh, they totally do. I'm not going to dispute that one way or another. I know they do.
Right. Okay, well, one of the big things that this movie suffers from, in my opinion, is the rewritten ending. What I mean by that is, they had the greatest ending. You think the movie's over, and Jason jumps out of the water and gets Alice, pulls her in the water, and then suddenly that becomes a dream sequence. Now, before it became a dream sequence, it could raise a million questions. Like,
Right.
why would Jason's body just be in that lake for, how many years?
57.
It's at 80,
no.
yeah. Yeah.
So 57 to 80, so figure 57 to 77 is
Go ahead.
23 years.
You sure?
23 years.
Just kidding. Yeah. So you would say, why is his body in the lake for 23 years? How did he come
Yeah.
to life? And people who are really into crazy theories would be like, oh,
He
well,
wasn't in the lake. He didn't drown.
right. Well, when Alice chopped the mother's head off, which by the way, a machete would never make it through a neck and bone like that. So,
You don't believe that?
absolutely.
Dude, a machete is pretty heavy-duty stuff.
Oh, swung by a 19-year-old girl.
She's strong.
A guy with hairy knuckles.
Yeah, exactly. No, but anyway, some people would say when his mom's head got chopped off, her blood ran into the lake, which
Right.
brought Jason back to life.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
God.
a little...
Well, see, that's why I think they originally changed the original ending, Alex, and made it a dream sequence, because they wanted the shock. They had a good idea, but they couldn't implement it in a way that made sense.
And it made no sense.
That would be an ultimate cop-out to say, well, that doesn't make any sense, and that's why it was, a dream sequence or whatever. So.
Right. Well, he was born in 40s. He was about 33 or 34 years old by then.
At that time.
Right.
I actually talked to Ari Lehman, the guy who played the little boy Jason, and if anyone's curious, I don't know if you ever even came up with this, I actually asked him, what were you thinking when you were down there before you jumped up and got Alice? I was just...
Did you remember?
Yeah, it's the weirdest answer. He said, well, I was thinking of something to motivate me to be very angry and look like I was really going to murder this girl. And I wasn't in that headspace yet. And so what I did was I thought of the Holocaust and how the Jews were persecuted and Hitler. And
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
Oh, boy.
And I'm thinking to myself...
I think he's a little off.
As I'm looking at him, I'm saying, you're telling me at 11 years old this is the kind of stuff you thought about. And I was just like, oh, cool, man. All right. Because I wasn't going to sit there and say, I think you're nuts, Harry. All right, guys, well, I guess that's about it for this movie. We can't go too long. We have 12 more shows to do, which you guys will get every single day. Remember, tomorrow we have part 2. Overall, guys, I'm going to rate this movie, for what it is, of course, 8.5 to 9. That's
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you say? Dan, what do you think?
Friday the 13th original, I'd probably have to give it a 7.
Okay.
I give it a 10.
Oh, I knew it! God, I can't stand this guy. Why, Mike? Why is
Because
it perfect?
It's just a great movie.
I know that.
It scares me. It was like a Scream 16 years before Scream.
Okay, here's why you can't give it a 10. Mike, what's your favorite Friday the 13th?
Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Okay, so
And 3.
Okay, so you're saying this is just as good as... No, Mike, listen, it's like the hottest girl at work. She's hot for a worker in your job, but
well, I've never worked with any hot girls, so...
Yeah.
No,
yeah, but you would never you wouldn't look at her for 2 seconds anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Mike,
so you have to judge
give it a 10, though, Mike. It has to really stand out. It has to be very significant. Now, what sets that movie apart from any other thing besides everything that we mentioned? Because let's face it, those aren't groundbreaking things. They're significant in the world of horror, but they didn't set it over the top.
Okay, so can I give it an 8?
From there?
So you have 8. Okay, I'll accept your 8.
All right, well then I'll give it an 8.
Okay, there you go.
Just for effort. 8 for effort.
An 8 for effort.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, well, this was the Skeleton Crew at Rabbit and Blue Radio. This was the first episode of the 12 Friday the 13th shows, and we will be back tomorrow for Friday the 13th Part 2. We're looking forward to it. So, signing off, this is Alex.
Michael J.
And
Dan Chase.
Dan Chase. See you tomorrow.
Hi, girl.
Excuse me. Hi, boy.
Hey, you speak English? How far is it to Camp Crystal Lake?
That far, huh? Okie dokie. See you later. Ugh.